can.
Majesty, faithful me for yourself into me. Wield your power, monstrous price, stare me down.
Frederick and Michael from Opeth, welcome to Toronto. Heavy TO, the first, actually officially open-air event here in the Great White North. How are you dealing with the heat? What's going on? This is unbelievable.
Yeah.
You don't expect this from Canada.
It's a bit much for us, to be honest. We're trying to find shade, but even in the shade, you're like, I feel weak, old man. I am old, but we have a nice bus with air conditions. That's where we've been all day, pretty much.
So tell me about some of the remedies, because obviously you're used to some of these temperatures in life. So to prepare yourself on stage, what do you do to cool down to get ready for the show?
Just hang on the bus, you know, play some guitar, have half a beer maybe.
And what happens to the other half then?
Just leave it for the roadies. Something. No.
Payback, I guess, right?
Yeah. You know, that like after. I never finish my beers because I hear somebody told me like it's only saliva in the bottom of the beer, and I'm afraid of my own saliva. It tastes like shit.
Yeah, but the saliva in the Great White North is a lot more potent than one you get in the U.S., I presume, right?
Is that how it is? I don't know. Yeah, maybe. yeah. Well, the beer is better here, I think. You know.
What's the first thing you do when you cross the border into Canada? I know you're very fond of Canada and you've played here for years. What's the first thing you look forward to when you come into Canada?
We kind of pat each other's back, saying we got the drugs through.
Yeah.
Great work.
We made it again.
Yeah. No, I mean, what did we do yesterday? We came in and got drunk, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Got
They-
pretty
I
shit-faced
was
on the plane actually.
I
Me
was.
and Mendes.
They separated me from the rest of the guys on the plane. So I was alone on the plane. Just had a glass of wine, but those guys are drinking.
Yeah, we got pretty shit-faced actually.
So I had to kind of catch up with them once we got to the hotel. It wasn't like a big deal. We just had dinner and a couple of glasses of wine too many. You know.
So no hair of the dog needed right now?
No. I had a headache, but I don't believe in that kind of the hair of the dog.
This is a part
You
of
just believe in the band then, right?
Yeah, pretty much.
drinking thing is a part of our job in a way, you know. We get used to it.
I think it's common for most of us.
Yeah.
In all seriousness, this is one of the first big events that is happening in Canada. How important is it to build the whole European festival atmosphere in Canada? Do you see the importance of it?
I think so. I never understood why there aren't more festivals in North America, in Canada or America. We did one called Bonnaroo in Tennessee, which was nice, but it felt like any festival to me. This feels like any festival, you know. So I'm hoping it's going to catch on, that more like promoters or whatever start festivals, you know, over here.
Well, Bonnaroo is more of a mainstream thing. This is like a dedicated, truly dedicated hard rock and heavy metal festival where you guys truly fit the bill, right? So it's a different vibe, and to be the first one, let's hope there's many more to come, but it couldn't happen without the support and with great bands like Opeth.
Of course, but you know, all bands that I know love playing festivals. Obviously there is more of a cost for us to come over and just do 2 shows. You know, like we're playing 2 shows, and you know, it's probably not going to cover how much it costs for us to come over and all that stuff, but I mean, we're still going to do it, you know. We're doing most of these festivals, like the Bonnaroo one was on a loss for us. I'm not sure about these ones, but probably on, like, if it's break even, then we're going to be happy. But, you know, it's good to play in front of, you know, big crowds coming out. You know, when there's more bands, obviously there's more of a crowd.
Well, as we're saying, this is like a truly dedicated hard rock and heavy metal festival. But for some reason, Opeth sticks out. You're different. it's, you know what I mean? It's, and I'm not trying to kiss your butt here, but it is true that Opeth is really this unique entity that everyone obviously needs to experience, but you truly stick out in any kind of festival environment. Do you understand what I mean?
I like if we stick out. That's a good thing for us. Generally, when we play like super metal festivals, we try to play some of the more softer songs, and vice versa sometimes. Just because we can, I guess. We have those songs are as important for us as the heavier songs. And I think when you're playing metal festivals with all these bands being heavy, it might be somewhat of a saturated situation where you forget who's who. But we like to stick out, you know. So we play some of the more odd non-metal songs at these types of festivals, of course.
So you make a conscious effort to kind of rework the set list for a particular event like this, or do you just do whatever feels good when you wake up that day?
Yeah, we do whatever feels good, but those songs are part of our set list, so it's inevitable that we're going to stick out when we connect it with other bands doing all the heavy stuff all the time, you know, because we have some of the ballads or whatever. So we do everything.
Well, and you're obviously setting up a new record. None of us have heard this thing, so maybe one of the surprises might be a new song. Any idea when you'll break out a brand new song from Heritage?
Actually, we're thinking about doing that, but we decided not to, because it's going to be out there on YouTube in a shitty version, and people's going to have a prejudgment of the album maybe. And so we decided to wait.
Is there any drop date when you want to play something live, or?
Basically, once the album is out, we'll play. We haven't really rehearsed those songs much, so we have a lot of work to do. But yeah, once the album is out, we're gonna start playing them, but not before, I think.
Now, there's been a lot of information about the record, the track listing, everything. We've even spoke on the phone a little bit about it. Do you know what stuff you want to play live from the record? Is there things that are sticking out that, you know, this is going to fit into the live set?
I think we have a pretty good idea of what we're going to play from the new album. It's about 4 or 5 songs we've been talking about. So they're going to work fine, I think.
Well, as I said, this album comes out in late September, and it's a long time, especially in this digital age, to wait for one of your favorite bands to bring out new music. So can you explain about a little bit of the background behind Heritage? What can we expect? What kind of invigorated you and excited you about creating this brand new record? What can we expect?
Well, it's going to be a little bit of an acquired taste, I think. Especially if you only listen to death metal music, there's not too many of those elements on there. But with that said, I don't think we would have been able to do a record like Heritage without our death metal past. Some of those riffs, could have been on a previous record, I think. But generally, I think it's fairly new sounding. You know, some parts of the album I think is, for me, it's kind of new music. I don't really know what to call it, which I like. But it's all over the place. There's a Ronnie Dio tribute song on there, it sounds like Rainbow. There's a jazz kind of sounding song on there. There's some evil, more up-tempo sounding songs like The Devil's Orchard is kind of evil. And I Feel the Dark is also kind of evil sounding. And Famine is that sounds like hell, in a good way. And then there's some kind of more beautiful parts going on there, like the last song, Marrow of the Earth, is an instrumental piece it's lovely. Folklore is kind of got some tension in there. And
it has a bit of Swedish folk tone to it, here and there.
And you mentioned there are a few guest appearances on this record. Can you detail those a little bit for us?
Yeah, well, we have a new keyboard player who's playing with us now. He's playing the first song, a song called Heritage, which is a piano piece. So he's on there. I can't say that he's a guest because he's playing with us now. But Perry's on the album, of course. And then we have a guy called Björn Jison Lind is playing flute on a song, on a doom riff. He's playing a flute solo, basically, or just sounds, like evil sounds. And he is a legend in Sweden, pretty much. He's done records in the very studio where we recorded this album. He's recorded his records in the 70s there. And he's like an arranger. He arranged strings and stuff for ABBA back in the day. And he comes from like the fusion background, you could say, fusion rock type of thing. And then we have Alex Acuna, who's a drummer, percussion player from Peru, who he was in Weather Report back in the day, and he played with everyone. He played with Elvis, played with U2, he played with...
It was just a coincidence that he went down to the studio because he was in Stockholm doing a drum clinic. Okay. And a guy helped us out with tuning the drums and stuff. He was like, well, Alex Acuna is in town. I heard you need a percussion partner. I can ask him to come down. He just went down and laid 2 layers, and that was it.
And you're familiar with Weather Report's material, I guess?
Yeah, of course. Mendes, our bass player especially, because he's such a big fan of Jaco Pastorius. Okay. So having a guy that played with Jaco, for him was, I mean, he's shaking it. He's like...
He was working on his bass part when Alex Acuna showed up at the studios, and he just spotted him and freaked out. It was fun.
Now, did he have any stories for you?
Well, he was only there for like an hour. And he's old school. Like, he went in, did his part, and normally you say, that's fine, you're good. Like, you're in the talk back, you're like, yeah, you nailed it. But this time, he just did his part, and then he came out. Like, I'm done now. And we're like, yeah, you're done now. Perfect.
So were you pleased with it? Should it have been another take, or is that's just a seasoned veteran then?
He made it sound evil. He's on that song Famine.
Sounds like a ghost to Dragon It's Changed at some part. He had his old dried goat feet he was fiddling around with.
It was goat feet. For real.
That was really cool.
There's no secret about your psychedelic roots and your love for that era. Are we going to feel that vibe of Opeth moving ahead but going back in time?
Yeah, it's all the influences taken from old music. There's not any inspiration taken from contemporary music as far as I remember, which many people probably think it sucks or whatever, but I just find myself listening to like older stuff for some reason. And I love psychedelic music. So I wouldn't say this is our psychedelic album or whatever, but it certainly has a lot of those types of influences for those like late 60s bands.
And how is your relationship with Steven Wilson growing over time? You guys have been working together for ages. What did he bring to the table? How did you guys work together this time around?
Well, he just mixed the album this time. And it was quite simple. As I said, the record was recorded in a simple way, so it was more or less getting the levels right. So there's no like editing and stuff like that. It's just volume, done, pretty much. So it was easy. We did it in 4 days, I think. Mixed the album in 4 days, and then we just went ahead and continued working with our own, like the side project thing.